Hi guys, I'm Missy, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. So today is another installment in my full face of affordable makeup brands, and today's brand is, let's see if I can get it, it's very heavy, Catrice. Quite a few things to try from Catrice. So first off, I'll start off by showing you I got a couple of their nail polishes in an advent calendar, and I did try out the dark purple one that had like different color reflex. I'll pop up a picture or maybe a video here of that one. And today I have on like the lighter like nudie pink one. Very pretty, very like everyday. And then I still have to try this one, this beautiful red. But so far I'm really liking them. They're very nice. They're not like super opaque. I do have to put about 2 to 3 layers on to get them very opaque for me. So there is that. I don't think these are available outside that advent calendar, but they do have fingernail polishes and things that you can buy. I just don't think you can buy these specific shades, unfortunately. Which I'm sad about because I really, really like the purple one. So I may try to like email the company and say, hey, can you release this one? Alright, but let's get started and I'll zoom you guys in. And I have some tools and all that kind of stuff to use. Alright, we are all zoomed in. And I've told you guys before, I like to start out with my primers, let them set while I'm doing my brows. That's just my preferred way of doing things. But let me show you first. So I have a little bit of skincare. So I have this lip mask that I'm going to apply. And it did come sealed. I did get this in the advent calendar as well. And it's this like pretty little swirled lip mask. I think it has a scent. Yeah, it almost smells kind of like apple-y, like fruity. So I'm just going to put it on and let it sit while I work on my makeup. Oh, that feels really nice. Yeah, very nourishing. And it's not super thick either. Alright, nice. Like that so far. I also have, so I do have a hydrogel plumping lip patch. I don't think I'm going to use this today since I just used the lip mask, but I do have some hydrogel eye patches that I also got in the advent calendar. It's an energizing and hydrating under eye patches for a refreshed, awake, and bright looking eye area. Formulated with caffeine, ginseng extract, and hyaluronic acid. Dermatologically tested on all skin types. Open the sachet and remove the protective sheets. Place eye patches onto clean, dry under eye area and leave on for 10 minutes. After removal, gently pat the remaining serum into skin for one-time use only. Caution, avoid direct eye contact. Do not apply on irritated skin. In case of any intolerance, discontinue use and rinse off immediately. Keep out of reach of children. Protect from sunlight. Alright, so let's try them out because we need a little something going on under the eyes for me today because I have not been sleeping very well. It comes like this. Very, very thin. Get a mirror and see what I'm doing here. It doesn't want to stick. It's like very, very, very thin. Trying not to rip them because they're so thin. Okay. Second one definitely had a lot more of the serum-y stuff on it and just made a mess on my desk. Let me grab a towel. Alright, I am back and I cleaned up my little mess right here and I set a 10-minute timer. So that'll probably go off while I'm talking. But yeah, this is what they're looking like right now. One definitely had a lot more of the serum on it than the other. I think it like kind of slid where I had the packages sitting up. But they do feel nice. Very cooling. I'm going to show you some of the tools, kind of while we're waiting a little bit, that I have to use. Alright, so first we have a nice cute little hair clip type thing that I got in the advent calendar. We'll see if I can utilize that a little later. Also got some cute little crystals in the advent calendar I may try to incorporate. I also got these 3 brushes in the advent calendar. A nice big fluffy highlighter type brush, a very like dense packing shadow brush, and an angular brush. So those are nice. Then I bought this guy here. It's like a 4-in-1 brush. Thought would be nice for travel. I also picked up a No Smudge Easy Wing Cut Crease tool. So hopefully try that out. And then I also picked up some of their powder puffs. Alright, so couple primer options that I have here. Oh, one more tool thing I forgot. I got their little like tape to help with like wings and stuff, or like to help, you know, form your shadow. Okay, so I have 2 primers here. I have their Beautifying primer called Endless Pearls. This is what it looks like. Looks like little pearls throughout. It says Beautify Face Primer with Illuminating Pearls. It says microplastic particles free. Okay. No parabens added, alcohol free, and fragrance free. So nice. And it does come with a little tape here so you know if someone's kind of opened it or not. And it's pretty strong little tape. So let me remove that. And then the other thing I have is the Soft Glam Filter Fluid Glow Booster. This is glow boosting face fluid with sheer coverage, optical filter effect for a softened, perfected, and radiant complexion. Wear alone, underneath makeup, or on top to set highlighters. So this is what it looks like. This is one of those like dupes for the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, I think it's called. Like the e.l.f. Halo Glow and things like that. You guys know I love those type products. So let me see. Echo, how much time is left on timer?
You have 5 minutes and 10 seconds left on your 10-minute timer.
Okay, so we still have a decent amount, it's sliding off my eye, decent amount of time left on the under eye things. So let me finish that out. I'll be right back and we'll start with the primers. Alright, so timer is done. So let's peel these bad boys off. And then it said to pat in the extra serum. I'm just going to kind of wrap it around the top of my eyebrows too. Okay. Yeah, I definitely think it helped depuff the eyes. Does feel very hydrated under there now. Okay, nice. Alright, so let's start with the primer. So let's start with the Beautifying primer, the Endless Pearls. I think this is so pretty. I think this would be so pretty on like a little vanity with makeup you know, comes in a pump form. I'm just going to squirt one squirt into my hand, and I do see like the shine pearl pigment in there. I'm just going to rub it. Oh, it's very liquidy. And we're going to place it on the face. Okay. Ooh, it feels kind of tacky, actually. And it's supposed to be illuminating, which I definitely see, but I wasn't expecting the tackiness of it, so it almost feels like a very light gripping primer too. Okay. Drying down nicely. Okay, it's getting less tacky now. Yeah, there's definitely some grip to it. Alright, so let's go in with the Soft Glam Filter Fluid. Say that 3 times fast. And I got the one that says Glow Booster. I'm not sure if there was different shades in this or not. If there is, I'll pop it in the description or something. So again, it's like all the typical ones, comes on a doe foot. I'm just gonna kind of put it all over the face. And again, it said that you could wear this on its own. That's the way a lot of these products are. I'm just gonna grab a mirror. So this is definitely one that just kind of like evens out your skin a little bit. I still see a lot of my redness peeking through in my cheeks. So let me see if I can add a little bit more in that area, just to see if there's any more coverage from it. And I'm just using a typical brush I would use for primer for this, which is my e.l.f. Putty Primer brushes. Okay, it's definitely a bit buildable, but it's still not like a lot of coverage. So yes, so far the e.l.f. Halo Glow is the one that has the most pigment for me to wear on its own. But it is definitely a glowy primer. Okay. Alright, so we're going to let those set and sink in, and we're going to work on the brows. So I picked up their Slim-Matic Ultra Precise Brow Pencil, and I got the shade 030 Dark. It says that it is waterproof with an ultra slim 1.5 millimeter tip for natural looking brows. Okay, so I'm just doing what I always do. I take the spoolie and I brush up my brows first. Other side. Again, very, very thin brow pencil tip. I'm going light-handed with it first. darkening up the brow some more. I will say the tip of it is going down very quickly. Alright, so there is the brow product. No brow. Brow. It's nice. It's like I prefer. It's definitely a little bit more pigmented than the Milani one I used. And definitely lives up to the natural looking shade. Again, I'm someone who prefers like a pretty dark brow, and this is not really doing that. So let me see. I can add some more with a heavier hand. So you can definitely darken it up. It's still not going to get where I want it to be, but it is a nice brow pencil. So let me do this side and I'll be right back and we'll work on the rest. Alright, I'm back and I have a brow gel to try. One thing I'm going to mention about this is I do think I'm going to go through this quickly because the tip of the brow is going down rather quickly. I'm noticing, so yeah, I feel like this is not going to last me very long. But let's try the brow gel. This is their Super Glue Brow Styling Gel. This looks like it's almost a dupe for the Got To Be Glued. Just kind of like the color of it and everything. So it says Ultra Hold for Ultimate Strong Hold. Alright. It says Lift and Laminate. So if you like the laminated brow look, this claims to be good for that. Just gonna brush it through. You guys know I'm very picky about my brow gels. I do not want them to feel super stiff, but I do want something that will hold. Oh boy. This one already feels like it's going to be stiff. We'll see. We'll let it dry down and see how it feels. Just gonna kind of smooth the edges. Okay, it's definitely holding them up. I can feel it drying down. That kind of tells me it's going to be the type I don't like. But while we're waiting for those to dry, we are actually going to take the tape because we're going to work on the eyes next. I do not have an eye primer, unfortunately. It's like very soft feeling. Tear off the edge here. And pull a piece. Do my best to kind of line it up here. Let's see if I can pull a similar size piece for the other side. Let me see if that's even. I think they're pretty even. One side might be a little bit longer than the other, but I think they're pretty even. Alright, so since I don't have an eye primer though, I have this concealer. This is their hydrating TrueSkin High Coverage Concealer with hyaluronic acid, and it's waterproof. So, and I got the shade 010 Cool Cashmere. So we're going to put it on our lids. Just a little dollop on each lid. I'm going to use a concealer brush. I'm going to use this P88 from Sigma. Don't worry, I'll get into the Catrice brushes here in a minute. We're just going to spread that all the way across. And I even bring it a little bit over the tape too. Okay. I tend to prefer eye primers over concealer because concealer can tend to crease. And I just prefer eye primers more. But since I don't have one from the brand, we are going to make do with what I do have. I'm just going to take my sponge as well and just kind of tap over it too. Just kind of help absorb the little bit extra moisture that the concealer has. So I have two eyeshadow options. I have the Pure Nude eyeshadow palette that I picked up, and then I also have this eyeshadow palette that came in the advent calendar. So I think I'm going to try to use both. So obviously the Pure Nude one is a more everyday type palette. It does come taped, and I just broke the seal. So we've got these like cool tone everyday nudes going on in it. And then the advent calendar palette has a little thing over top of it. And let's just pull the little thing off the mirror while you guys are here. You can get a hold of it with my nails. I think we're gonna get a nice sound out of this one. Ah, that was satisfying. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So we've also got some cool tone everyday nudes, but we've also got some warmer shades and a pop of like a orangey brown, a blue, and maybe like a deepening up shade over here. So let's see what we can come up with this. So I'm gonna open this one, and I also have the gold handled advent calendar brushes as well I'm going to use. But this one is a 4-in-1 brush featuring an eyeshadow, eyeliner, blush, and powder brush. The individual parts can be connected together, ideal for on the go. Which is exactly why I bought it. Okay, so here's the eyeshadow brushes, eyeliner brush, and then the like contour powder blushy brushes, and they're already shedding, but stick it up through here and connect and twist, and then you have your brush like this that you can carry with you. I will say it does not feel like the best quality. It's already shedding hairs, and it doesn't feel like it's not really rough, but it's also not really soft either. Okay, but let's untwist that, and we are going to go in with this brush, and I want to take this shade right here. I want to take this shade right here, and I want to set down that concealer on the lid. It's just a very nice, flat, creamy nude shade. No kick up in the pan with that shade. And sometimes this helps too with blending. Yeah, still no kick up in the pan with that shade. Okay. And the brush is gliding over my eyes pretty nicely. Alright. So let's see what I have to choose from in the mattes here. Alright, so I think what I want to do, I'm going to go into the Advent Calendar palette. I don't think it has a name. Yeah, it just says Catrice eyeshadow palette. You know what? I think I'm going to go into this shade here. No, I'm going to go into this shade here because for the Milani I did like a burgundy kind of look and I don't want to do the same kind of look. So I'm going to go into this dark brown shade. And wow, that's pigmented. Okay, and we're just going to put that in the crease. Again, well, that one has a little bit of kick up in the pan. Okay. Just going to grab some more, tap off, and put in the crease. This is probably going to get messy before it gets better, so you gotta trust the process. And I'm going to bring it out here over top the tape as well, because I want to try and sort of wing out this look as best I can. Okay. I want to wipe it away from like this front part because I don't like how like dark it's making it look there. Okay. Alright. So I'm just going to grab my little e.l.f. color switch here. I'm going to clean that off for the moment. But I'm going to grab Alright, yeah, I'm going to have to go back in with that same brush for now. And I'm actually gonna grab the other palette and I'm gonna use this shade. I want to go over top the previous shade. Okay, this brush is good for like detail work, but not so much blending. So yeah, there is that. Okay, I'm gonna have to grab another brush. I'm gonna grab my Game Beauty E01 and I'm going back into that lighter shade in the nude palette and I'm gonna go across here. And again, I'm going over that tape as well. Okay. I'm going to clean that brush off with the switch here. And I'm going to go back into the Advent Calendar palette and I want to take this real light shade here. It's almost like a real light pink. That has a lot of kick up in it. And I'm going to go across the brow bone with that shade. just so we can get a little bit better gradient there. And then I'm going to go back in with this brush. I'm going to lightly dip into that original first shade we put in the crease. And I want to put it back in the socket a little bit. And I'm just going to repeat what I did with the other shades as well. Okay. All right. So now what I want to do is, what do I want to do? I think I'm going to take this liner brush and I'm going to get some concealer on it, and I want to try and kind of cut the crease. So I'm going to do that. I got some concealer on the brush. I'm just going to tap it along my lash line. I'm going to look up and see where it made a line. And I'm just going to go from there and fill in with this concealer. I'm going to grab a little bit more of the concealer. And I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to kind of tap just to kind of absorb the excess moisture in that one. And I am going to let's see. I think I'm going to go into this shade, or this shimmer right here. And I am going to use my finger for that shade. And I'm going to put that right here. Oh, that's pretty. I'm filling half of my lid with that shade. Okay, that's like your basic, like satin type shimmer. Nothing wrong with those. I just prefer more of a impact for my shimmers, but these are good for every day. Then I think what I want to do is go into this palette and use this shade, the shimmer. That one feels a little more gritty. I'm going to pop that right here in the center. Okay. And then I think I'm going to grab this palette again and go into this shimmer. Again, applying with my finger. And we're going to finish off the inner third with that shade. Okay. Alright. Then I want to go in with let's go in with that shadow brush on this one. I'm going to clean off the pigment. And I'm going to go into this shade right here. I'm just going to tap in it twice because I don't know how pigment it is. I want to put that right out here, just to deepen up the outer edge a bit. I'm going to go in some more. Again, going along that tape as well, and I'm kind of like pulling it this way and pulling it down. I'm going to go back in with the Game Beauty brush. No extra pigment, just kind of help blend a little bit. Everything. Alright, I'm going to repeat this on this eye, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and we're going to take this palette. We're going to take this shimmer here. I'm going to put it on the inner corner and on my brow bone. So I am going to take a pencil brush from ColourPop. This is their E5. I'm just going to dip into that shimmer. Tap it off a little bit. I'm going to put it in the brow bone. And in the inner corner. Alright, so you guys can see the shimmers are very, in my opinion, lackluster. But that's simply because I'm very used to like super impactful shimmers, which is what I prefer. But if you prefer something a lot more subtle, this is definitely for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to pull these off, and let's hope I got them even. See what crisp line we have there. And we're going to do this side. Nice. Okay, this worked really well. I'm just going to kind of pat along the edge here. Okay. Alright, so we're going to set the palettes aside for now. We're going to start on the complexion, and then we'll circle back to the eyes. Alright, let me put my little brush together here. Okay, so we have 3 foundation options. I have their HD Liquid Coverage Foundation in the shade 048 Desert Beige. Also have their new Nude Drop Tinted Serum Foundation in 046 In. And also have the Catrice TrueSkin Hydrating Foundation with hyaluronic acid in the shade 033 Cool Almond. I think what I'm going to do is go with the Tinted Serum, since that is the newest release they have. So let me grab a little palette. This little guy here. And it is in a dropper. Let's hope I did a better job of shade matching than I did in my Milani video. Okay. So I'm just going to squirt some of this out. I don't really prefer these like droppers. I will say that this one is working well, just like the Wet n Wild one, and I love the Wet n Wild skin tint. So let's hope I like this one as much as I like that one. Just gonna grab one of my favorite It Cosmetics foundation brushes and tap it in to the foundation, or skin tint I should say, and let's just start applying. It's a little yellow. Okay, that lip mask is pretty much gone. So I'm gonna go across my lips. It does have a bit of a like makeup smell to it. Just gonna grab a little more off of the palette. Go down my neck. I think this is gonna be more of like a summer shade for me because it is a bit too dark for my complexion, but it does look pretty nice on the skin, I will say. Yeah, it's got nice coverage for a skin tint. Just kind of bring it down my neck so it's not as noticeable. Alright, but I am really liking the finish, and it is pairing really nicely with those illuminating primers. And it does look nice. It's not making me look like super textured or anything, so okay. Just the shade match is a little off for me. So let's go in with the concealer, and I'm just gonna put it under my eyes, chin. It does have a perfume scent to it. Yeah, it's very, very perfumey. I didn't notice that initially, and I'm going to take my sponge. Again, this is the shade 010 Cool Cashmere. Which is a decent shade. I'm finding that in these drugstore brands that my shade matching is not exactly matching up to what I normally would get. So I'm kind of learning I need to go 1 to 2 shades lighter than what it tells me for the foundations. The concealers, they're not too bad. They're either like blending into my skin tone or they're just a little light, which I prefer a brightening concealer. But that's looking nice. I'm just gonna add a little more under the eyes in this outer part here. I'm gonna add a little more in the inner too. I don't like that fragrant smell though. Okay, that's nice and layerable, and it's not too thick. And it does a good job with coverage without looking too heavy. Alright. So as for these two, I'll use these some other time. I'm really hoping they're not wrong shades as well, but we shall see. But I'm liking the Tinted Serum so far. So let's go into some more cream products. So I picked up their little dupe that they have for the Makeup Forever palette. This is their Magic Shaper Face Cream palette. And we have bronzers, blush, and highlights in here. It's all cream products. And I think this is 010 Holy Grail. And there is a little seal over top. Okay. I may keep that to kind of put back over to kind of keep them creamy. Let's go in with a ColourPop stippling brush. This is their F4. I'm going to go into the lightest bronzer here and see how that works for me. I'm very intimidated by cream products like this because I tend to go overboard very, very quickly with them. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna actually mix the two bronzer shades and see what we come up with. Okay, yeah. Alright, that's not too bad. I might try to tap it off like it's powder. Alright, yeah. Okay. Definitely gonna go back over with a sponge like I always do, but mixing the two is working pretty well with this Tinted Serum shade. Let's go under my chin. I think I rubbed a little bit too much that time. And do a little under here. And do a little down the sides of my nose. Alright. I think that's looking nice. Those creams blend like real easy. Okay. Let's go over with my sponge. And then we'll go into the cream blushes. Alright, so I have obviously these blushes here. Look how messy that's gotten so quickly. Got a little bit of the bronzer in with the highlighter. But I also got this. This is a cream to powder blush that I got in the advent calendar. I don't see a shade name on it. But this is what it looks like. It has a seal over it. So I think I'm going to try it because it's kind of dark, kind of back here. And then put one of the lighter shades kind of towards the front. So let me grab another brush. I'm going to use my e.l.f. Putty Blush Brush and dip it in. Okay, and we're going to put it right back here. That is very pigmented. I'm just building that blush up some more in the back. But I am liking it so far. I think it looks nice. Okay. Alright, so now let's go in, and I think I want to use kind of this pinky shade here. And I'm just going to use the same brush. And I'm going to tap that more towards the front going into that back brush. Okay, that's a bright, like, fuchsia pink. I'm going to dip into more like peachy shade and put over top. Oh, okay. Alright, we're just going to be blush heavy today. Alright, let's go over with the sponge. That's the thing with cream blushes, is they're very easy to get out of hand pretty quickly. That's one reason I've always kind of preferred powder blushes more. Let's add a cream highlighter, and then we'll go in with some powders, I think. I'm just going to use my finger for this cream highlighter here, because I feel like the other one's going to be too dark above. And I'm just going to tap that right across here. That's very pretty. Okay. And on the nose. Okay. Nice. I like that one. Alright, so that's a nice little cream face palette. Alright, so before I move on to powders, I forgot I actually have their under eye brightener to go under the eye, and I haven't set down powder yet, so let's try it out. So this is the under eye brightener Instant Awake that I purchased, and then we have under eye brightener. It just is under eye brightener that came in the advent calendar. I'm going to use this one that I purchased because it's relatively new on the site. I mean, it's a product they've had for a while, but I think they re-released it with different packaging. Okay. Alright, and again, I'm just going to take my finger. Ooh, that is like a very, very creamy product. It's almost kind of melty back here. And I'm just going to tap it under the front part of my eyes. Very pink. I'm going to tap it right in the front here. And kind of pull it down a bit. Yes, that's nice. I like that. It definitely brightened the under eye. Okay, nice. Definitely going in the drawer. Alright, let's start with some powders. I may have to change my battery in between because I see it's getting kind of low. But first up, let's see here. I just want to tap this in a little more. We have this little set here that has like a little bronzer shade and a highlighter shade. I'm definitely going to use the bronzer. And again, it comes taped. This is 010 Out of Office. And I did purchase this one. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not opening. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to go in with this angled brush here. We're going to tap into that bronzer. And we're going to knock some off, and we're just going to brush it on. Lots of kick up in the pan. I do like this face brush. I like the angle on it. And the bronzer, Yeah, the bronzer is looking pretty nice. Pretty, like, natural. I've noticed that with a lot of drugstore bronzers, they look a lot more natural looking on the skin. And they blend really well. Okay. Just gonna do down the chin. And then we're gonna do a little on the nose. And under the lip. Okay. Alright, nice. I like that bronzer. And it's nice and sleek. Little duo. Alright. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to clean it off. Because I'm going to go into a powder blush. Now, you could have just used this because it said cream to powder and would have been done because it did set down to a powder. But since I did put another set of cream blushes, I want to go over with this blush. This is the Catrice Air Blush Glow in 040 Peach Passion. And this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to use that angled brush. I'm just going to dip all the way around so we get everything. Tap. Oh, it smells nice. It's got like a sweet vanilla scent to it. Okay. Decent pigment, but not overbearing. It definitely has that glow, like it says. Yeah, I think that looks nice. Okay. Alright, I like that. Nice. Alright, so we have a couple powder highlighter options. So, like I said, we have this one in here. We have this one that came in my advent calendar. And then we have the Fenty Diamond Balm dupe that they just released. So I think what I want to do, because I've told you guys I don't like a glittery highlight on my face, right? I think I'm going to use this as a topper for my eyes though. And I think I'm just going to do a mix of this and a mix of this highlighter on my face. So let me grab the highlighting brush. I'm going to grab this little brush that came in my advent calendar, and we're going to go in. I'm going to go into this one first because it looks kind of dark compared to the other one. So let's just tap in this one, and we're going to go right here with this brush. Okay. Definitely, like, not super sparkly, but it's also not just like a beam highlight either. Okay. It's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty. It's not one that wows me, but it is pretty. Alright, let's go in and top it with this one, because I tend to like lighter highlights, I've noticed about myself. Let's go over top with that one. Yeah, see, that's more my speed. I'm just going to put it on my nose as well. Alright, so now we're glowing. all the highlights with the cream and the 2 powder highlights. Alright, yeah, we're definitely glowing. It looks pretty. I'm just gonna tap again. I like to do this with all my steps. Alright, so now let's take that Diamond Haze highlighter, not eyeliner, highlighter. And I'm gonna use my finger and make it super sparkly. So if you're looking for something that is very sparkly, this one is. Even the container itself is sparkly. Alright, so I'm gonna go in with my pinky finger. Ooh, that's very soft. And I'm just gonna take it and just tap all across my lid because I want a sparkly eyelid. Yeah, definitely did the trick. Very pretty. Alright, I don't know if it's coming off on camera or not about how sparkly that made my lids compared to before. I'm just adding some more. Alright, very pretty. I like that. I don't think I would like it as a highlighter though. Just kind of a big eyeshadow topper for me. Just because it is so glittery. But it does feel nice. I've never owned the Fenty Diamond Balm, but I've heard it's very, very similar. I believe Tati compared it to it. Alright, so let's see. Where are we at now? Are we at powders? Okay, so I have some of their under eye brightener setting powder. I did get the 010 Light Rose, and I also got the 020 Warm Nude. I thought, because I didn't see any like face setting powders, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm definitely going to use the rose under my eyes, which means I'm going to break out the little puffs here, because we have the little one for under the eyes and the one for the face. Very soft. Alright, so let's just open the rose one. These setting powders are so small though, I will say. I know they're supposed to be for your under eyes and that's why they're so small and petite, but they're definitely the smallest setting powder container I've ever seen. Alright, I'm just going to tap some into the cap. And we're going to take the little puff. But first, let's make sure we don't have any creases. Okay. And let's just go ahead and apply. Under the eye. Wow, that's a big difference. You guys can see I did this eye and not this eye. See how blurring and smoothing and brightening? That's a nice powder. I just wish it was a bit bigger. I'm going to tap some more out for the other eye. Okay. I do like the little puff. It is very nice and very soft. And fits perfectly under the eye. I'm just going to tap that brightening one there in there too. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that powder. I think it's nice. It's not heavy or anything either. Okay. Nice. I'm going to open the other one and I'm going to try it for the face. Hopefully it's not too dark. I got like a nude shade and they're supposed to be brightening, so I thought, you know, it might work. But I have another item as well that I'm going to use for setting the face. Obviously, this is not meant for the face. This is meant for under the eyes. I'm going to go in with the bigger puff. I'm going to tap it on the back of my hand. And we're just going to kind of set around my whole face. May have to go back in and tap some more out for the rest of the face. Okay. Alright, so yeah, it's not bad. You tap a little more. And I don't think it's like too dark for my face either, or anything like that. So if you're interested, but I mean, obviously you can get bigger setting powders at the drugstore that are good with a good price instead of buying this little one, unless you want it specifically for your under eyes. I would definitely use it for that. Alright, so the other item I have is actually supposed to be a dupe for the Mally powder. It's like a gel to powder thing, but this is a lot better. Not a lot better. I don't know if it's a lot better or not. This is a lot bigger. This is the O10 Camera Ready Mattifying Gel to Powder. I love the Mally one. I have a little one of it that I got through Ipsy, and I love it. So when I saw this, it intrigued me. So let's see. Let's see how it feels. Definitely feels the same. Maybe a little firmer than the Mally one, but it's definitely very similar. Alright, so I am actually going to take that same puff, and I'm just going to swirl my puff around in it. I will say there is some like black specks coming off the puff, the bigger puff for some reason, and I'm just going to use it all over my face. Definitely feels the same on the face. Alright, my battery's dying. Let me change it out and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back and battery is changed, and this definitely feels to me a lot like the Mally one. So if you're looking for a dupe for that, but in a bigger compact, we'll see how it performs compared to the Mally one since I have both. If you guys want me to do a comparison video between the two, let me know in the comments and I'll do that for you guys. Maybe like a little short or something, but right now it's definitely feeling a lot like that. And I've fallen in love with that product because it made my makeup last all day pretty much. Okay, so we are down to like eyeliners, mascara, setting spray, things like that. So I have a couple eyeliner options. I have two multi-chrome options. So I have this one that came in my advent calendar. I also have this one that came in my advent calendar. And then I also bought one in the shade 100 Light Up. That's like a ultra precision waterproof. It's like a nude shade. That one, let me swatch these and see what I think. Okay, that one's a greeny gold, so that might go. This one is like a purple to blue. I'm gonna save the purple to blue for another time. And then we have the one I bought, which is a brightening shade. Let's go with the gold one today because I want to do a little something under the eyes. Alright, so let's go with that one. Ow. Alright, not getting much from it. It's very, very stiff. It didn't feel that way when I was putting it on my hand. Ow. Okay, I keep poking myself in the eye with it too. Alright, yeah, I'm not getting much from that, so let's go in with the one I actually bought, because I'm not really getting much from that one. Alright, not a fan of these. I definitely prefer Essence and my ColourPop over these eyeliners. They're just very lackluster. Honestly, kind of pokey. Alright, so let's go back to the palettes. And I actually want to go into this one. And I'm going to use the kind of like shadow smudgy type brush. And I want to go into this blue because I want to actually no. Let me use the eyeliner brush from this one. And we're going to go into that blue. Ooh, lots of kick up. And I actually want to put it across this outer part of my eye. Just to add a pop of color to the lower lash line. Okay. Hold on. I hate when I get inconsistent pigment from shadows from one side to the other. Alright, that's the best I'm gonna get it. Okay. Now I want to go in with that smudgy brush and I want to go into this palette and I want to go into this shade here. And I'm going to go under the blue. This might look kind of muddy. I'm going to go into the lightest matte and go under all of that. Change my lighting a little bit. Sometimes this lighting makes it look like I only did one side more pigmented than the other. And that's not the case a lot of times. Because in person, it didn't look like that. This blue is very pigmented and it's also very messy. Okay. Alright. Alright, so on the lower lash line, I think I want to go into this purple shimmer. And I'm just going to grab that pencil brush from ColourPop. Put it right here, connecting into the blue. Just something a little different. Then I want to go into this shade with the Game Beauty brush and go under everything. Just to kind of soften it some. Alright. Now, I think we are done with the palettes. Actually no, let me take that brush. Where'd it go? Okay, I'm gonna take that blue and see, actually, let's go in with the thinner eyeliner brush into that blue. And I'm going to tie it into the top lash. Just tapping off pigment. And I want to go into the lash line. Just kind of wiggle it into the lash line. All the way across. Alright, now we are done with palettes. So let's go in with some mascara. I got their Pure False Lash Beyond. Oh, no. Hold on. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, let's go in with some setting spray. I have several options to use. So I have the Prime and Fine Multi-Talented Fixing Spray. These are great. This one here is great, like a MAC Fix Plus type of thing. I also have the Prime and Fine Dewy Glow Fixing Spray. We may use that one today. We have the Ultra Last 2 Fixing Spray. Also have the Oil Control Matte Fixing Spray, hydrating. And we also have the Shake Fix Glow Spray. So let's see, let's do a matte to mattify, and then we'll do a glowy as well. So let's do the Oil Control Matte Fixing Spray first, and then we'll do the Shake Fix Glow Spray. I have a blue eyeshadow all over my hand from that palette. Okay, so let's go in with this one first. It says 16-hour long lasting. I'm going to pull my shirt up, and it's just okay. I like Catrice. I like Catrice setting sprays, and that one had a bit of an aggressive mister on it though. And I'm just going to take my sponge and help press that one in. I like to do my setting sprays before mascara, because sometimes if I wait and do it after mascara, my mascara will run. Alright, now let's do the glowy. That one definitely mattified. So now let's bring that glow back that I like to have on the skin. Uh-oh. Cool. Okay, the mister on this one gets stuck for some reason. And that one has an aggressive mister as well. That one left some droplets. I think that was because of where I was struggling with it to spray. I will say that I've used this one in the past and I prefer it more than the one I just used. So yeah, there's that. But I am going to set the others that I did not use to the side. Okay, so let's go in with the mascara now. This is the Pure False Lash Beyond Mascara in 010 Fiber Black with vegan collagen, perfume free. Oh my gosh, I had an eyeshadow primer, guys. I'm so sorry. I always miss something. It was hiding between everything. So I'll use this in another video. I apologize. This was the Grip to Last eyeshadow primer. I think I just recently got this too. So sorry. So sorry about that, guys. But let's go back into the mascara. Let me curl my lashes because I do that with all of my mascaras. Oh, that's a very skinny one. You guys can see. Okay. It's very, very stiff wand. It is lengthening, but I'm not really liking it. It looks kind of spidery to me. Let me do it on this side where my lashes are not as like spread apart. Okay, yeah, it's lengthening, but you guys can see they're already drooping, which means it's very heavy. And it's not, I don't know, it just looks like too flared out and spidery looking for my preferences. I like something that lifts up and curls and doesn't look so spread out to me. I could probably make it work, but right now I'm not really digging it. Yeah, I'm not going to bother to put this on the bottom lashes because I already know I'm not going to like it down there. I'm just trying to add a little more without dipping back in, seeing if maybe I can wiggle it through a little better. Yeah, I don't like this mascara. Definitely not one of my favorites, that's for sure. I mean, like I said, it is lengthening. It's not one of the best lengthening mascaras I've used. And it's definitely, at least with my lashes, already wanting to fall. Like, I'll run it back through and it pushes it up, but then it automatically starts to fall again. So yeah, I'm not a fan of this, and I think it is because it's a fiber mascara. I'm not a huge fan of fiber mascaras. I'm sorry guys, I'm losing my voice. Alright, so let's move on from the mascara. I'm just not liking it. I'm going to do my lip liner and lipstick, and then I'll pop off, go finish getting ready, come back and finish off the video talking about everything and how I feel about it. Alright, so I have 2 lip liner options, and they did come in my advent calendar box. One is like a very light nude, and one is kind of like a reddish nude, or more just like a red, I think, or like a pinky nude. And then I have the lipsticks that go along with them. They're just shades C01 and C02. Same with the lip liners. And then I also have a matte liquid lipstick that I believe also came in the advent calendar. So I think we've got a kind of cool toned eye going on. So I think I'm going to go with the neutral lip today. So let's go in with C01. Okay, that is a very dry, tuggy lip liner to be a retractable. Not a fan. But let's go in with the C01 lipstick as well. I do want to show you guys the embossing on this lipstick. That was very pretty. Love the detail. The lipstick is nice and creamy. But I'm not a fan of the lip liner. Alright, so that is the C01 lip liner and lipstick pairing. Pretty combination. I mean, they're meant to match each other, so. Alright, I am going to go finish getting ready, and I will be back to talk about all the products with you guys. Guys, I'm back, and this is the finished look. I have some thoughts. It's not my favorite look I've ever done. I did stick the little hair thing in. I'm not a huge fan of it, so I'm going to take it out of my hair. I don't typically care for these type of things. It'd be cute, like maybe an updo or something for a wedding or something like that maybe, but just not my style. There's a few things that I either forgot to use or just didn't use. Obviously the eye primer, I missed it. It was hiding behind a bunch of stuff. I didn't use this little tool, but I'll try to incorporate things into like a get ready with me video or something like that, or trying new makeup kind of thing. And then I didn't use these little crystals just because I don't really want to waste these on this look, to be completely honest with you. Alright, but let's talk about the things that I did use. And I already set aside the other stuff as I talked about in the video with foundations and sprays and stuff that I didn't use as well. But let's talk about the things that I did use. So the lip mask, I enjoyed the lip mask. It is one that doesn't last for a long period of time, so I would not use it as like an overnight mask, but definitely one to put on before you start your makeup. I do think it's very good for that, because by the time you're ready to do your full-on makeup, face, foundation, and all that kind of stuff, it's pretty much almost gone. So yeah, I would recommend it for that, so that you wouldn't have to wipe it off, you know. The under eye patches I really liked. I felt like they did depuff the under eyes and kind of make me a little more awake with the caffeine in them and stuff. So I do like those. I do want to see if maybe they sell them or if it was maybe just a one-time thing in the advent calendar. So yeah, there's that. The fingernail polishes I love. Like I said, I haven't used this one, but I have used the dark purple and like the everyday kind of like creamy nude shade, and I love both of them. Like I said, they're not super opaque with like one coat. It does take about 2 to 3 coats, but I do like them. I think they are gorgeous, especially the deep purple. Like I said, I may reach out to the company and be like, hey, can you make this one for sale, because I really like it. But we'll see. Alright, but I'm excited to try this red one since I like the other two so much. Primers. So yeah, we had these two primers here. I do think they do what they say of like illuminating the face. I do think they give a nice glow to the face, and I love how this looks. I think it is very pretty, and I do like the fact that it says it is microplastic free and particle free on it. So I'm not sure exactly if they have like real pearls in here or what, but I do like it. I think it's very pretty, and it would look like really pretty sitting with some other like nice looking makeup on a vanity or something like that. Performance wise, I think it did well too. It did give a glow to my face. So let's talk about the Soft Glam filter fluid. For some reason I cannot say, I keep wanting to say fluid filter instead of filter fluid for this. This is very glowy, which is what I prefer under my makeup for a glowy primer. I, however, do not think that I would wear this one on its own because it is just not pigmented enough for me. It did not fully cover my redness like I like, even though I did build it up as well. So yeah, if you're looking for something more like that to just put on and wear on its own, I recommend the e.l.f. one, the e.l.f. Halo Glow, more than that. The only thing I will say is every time I've bought the e.l.f. Halo Glow, with the exception of this last time so far, within 6 months mine starts smelling, so you really got to use it up within that time frame. But yeah, this one as a glowy primer does a good job, but as just a one and done type face product, I don't really think it's good for that. Eyebrows. So we have the eyebrow pencil. I love a ultra slim brow pencil, and it does a really good job. It is very precise. It is buildable, but it isn't buildable enough for me. These brows are not dark enough for my liking. I like a lot darker of a brow. So, and this is supposed to be the dark shade according to its sticker. So yeah, it's just not pigmented enough for me. I would definitely have to go back in with like a dark powder to how to help it out when I use it. I do think it does draw on brows very nicely, so it is nice for that. And if you like this shade, but for a dark brow, no, I don't recommend it for a dark brow. The eyebrow gel, the super glue brow styling gel, it is very sticky when you first put it on, right? But when it dries down, at first I felt it, and over time I didn't. It's not extremely stiff, but it is stiff enough that my brows are not moving. So I do like it. Is it going to be one that I reach for before some other ones that I have that I enjoy? No, just simply because where it is sticky with first application, because that's just a pet peeve of mine. If you don't mind that and you can wait it out a little bit and it's not sticky once it dries down, then yeah, you know, it's good for that. But yeah, it's definitely going to go in my drawer because I am going to use it. It's just not going to be one of the first ones I reach for because of that. Alright, then let's move on to the Tinted Serum. So, initially I thought it was too dark for me, and I still think it is just a tad. I do think it is doable for me, especially in the summer when I get a tan. I mean, I did bring it down my neck and everything so that it wasn't super noticeable. So yeah, there's that, but I do like how it looks. It is sitting very nicely on the skin. It is not heavy, and it has a good coverage. Like, it covered up my redness. it covered. You know, it's not like sinking into every fine line and wrinkle or anything like that. Now, do I prefer it over my Wet n Wild? No, I prefer the Wet n Wild more than I do this one. But this is actually close second performance-wise of a skin tint that I enjoy. I do wish I did get a little bit lighter of a shade though, so there is that. But you know, trying to match yourself foundation-wise online is difficult, and sometimes even difficult in person, and not all brands are not created equal in their shades. So just because one is like a light medium in one shade doesn't mean it's gonna carry over exactly into another brand's shade. So I'm running into that, and I'm noticing a lot with the drugstore ones that I'm gonna have to start looking a little more, if I can, in person for them instead of ordering them online, because trying to do the shade finder based on my Holy Grail shade from e.l.f., most of the time I get the shade correctly, but this last couple times it's been a little too dark, or a lot too dark. Like if you guys watch the Milani video, you guys will see what happened to me with that one. But yeah, this one's not that bad. But I do like it. I think it is a good little skin tint. Do I prefer pumps? Yes, I do. Alright, moving on. The concealer. I like this concealer. My only pet peeve with it is it does smell like perfume. Knock on wood. So far, I've been okay with it. It didn't do anything to have a reaction or anything like that. So it has good coverage. It definitely, you know, blends in more with my skin tone than brightening, but that's just a shade match thing because I got the cool cashmere shade. I do think if I wanted to go lighter, I would have to get a lighter shade than this one. That also could just be because the foundation was a little more dark, a little darker than I usually get as well. So it could be that too, but yeah, not much to say about this other than I like the performance of it. Blended in really nicely. It's not settling into my fine lines and wrinkles or anything like that, and it is covering where I need it to cover. Yeah, just the only negative I have with it is the fragrance that it has. So yeah, not bad. Let's talk about a couple of the tools a little bit here, and then we'll get into some more of the makeup. Let me grab the ones I used. I'm very sorry for the background noise. I tried to wait out the lawn people. I'm sorry if you're hearing it. It is like 5 o'clock. I don't know why they're working on it at 5 o'clock in the evening, but they are. And with the impending storm coming too, so I don't know what's up with that. But anyways, I apologize for the sound, but you know, I want to finish this video off, and I don't want to be sitting here till like 7, 8 o'clock waiting on them to get done. So the little tape I really like. I think it did a good job of keeping it like nice and crisp on the edge. Really like this, and it wasn't like super sticky or anything. I do recommend, like, it does rip easy, but I think next time I'll cut with scissors so I get a more precise line for myself. The brushes. Alright, so these three, I like them. This is a really good highlighter brush. It is very short handled, which is, when they put these in the advent calendars, they tend to always put the shorter handled ones in. I'm not sure if they did it on purpose, because maybe like parents buy the advent calendars for like their teenage daughters or their preteen daughters. Maybe that's why. But this performed really nice. Very nice soft bristles. It is very cheap handled though. The very like thin stiff eyeliner brush worked really well. I used it to do the cut crease, and I also used it on my upper lash line to kind of wiggle that dark blue in. Worked really nice for that. The kind of like eyeshadow brush here, I used it as a smudge brush. It's a little bigger than what I normally use for a smudge brush, but I wanted to use this brush so it would get used in the video. But it did perform nicely. It's just a little bigger than what I normally use for under my eyes, but I do think it would be nice for packing a shadow on the lid. And then we have this guy. So I did not use this brush, but I used this one. I like this brush. I do think it feels nice. It's not super soft, but it's not like super hard and rough on the face either, and it has a nice angle for the contour and for the blush. The eyeshadow and the eyeliner brush on them, I don't really care for this eyeshadow brush. I think it's a little too dense, and it doesn't want to blend. I need something that's going to be a little more flared if I'm going to have like a travel brush. So they either needed to do away with this end and have a more of a blending brush on this end, or make this one a lot more fluffy for my liking, because this, yeah, it like applied in the crease, but it didn't want to blend. It wanted to like just kind of keep smushing the same color into my crease instead of blending it out. So that's why I ended up having to grab this brush to help me with other colors. This eyeliner brush is also a little bit too fluffy. I prefer this one. It's more stiff, easier to work with. That's one reason under the eyes here you see how like the blue is kind of inconsistent, because it laid down a lot more pigment initially under one eye versus the other, and it's very annoying. It wanted to like spread it all over under my eye, which was causing some fallout issues as well. So yeah, not a fan of that eyeliner brush or this brush. But as far as face brushes go, at least this end I really like. I think I'll like this end too for like applying powder all over. Alright guys, hi, I'm sorry for the change, but my memory card filled up and I don't have a backup right now because both of my cards are full. So I'm trying to finish off this video with my phone. So sorry for the kind of change of view here. But what I was saying is that with this brush, I do think I'm gonna like this one for applying powder all over the face, since I like this one. But yeah, the eyeshadow and eyeliner one, not a big fan of. I think that is all the tools I used today. So let's get back into the makeup. So let's talk about the cream products. So this little palette here, it's nice. I did have to use both these shades together to create my bronzer shade, but once I did, it did work well. They're very pigmented, but they are very easy to blend. I did use everything in this palette except for this highlighter. So if you're a fan of cream products, I do feel like this is a good palette. It is a little hard to work with if you're like me and you're kind of a novice with cream palettes like this. I tend not to go for things like this, but like I've said before, I like to include a variety in these videos because I know some people like to use nothing but cream products on their face, so I like to provide that for individuals who do that, as well as the people who like to just do powder. And then you have people like me who like to combine things too, so that their makeup lasts throughout the day. But I do like this little palette, even though it is intimidating to me. The cream to powder blush that I got in my Advent calendar, I really like. I think it's super nice. It was very pigmented, but it did, I mean, just like the other ones, it did blend very easily. It is a darker shade, so there is that. At least for me, anyways, it's a darker shade. So yeah, but it did blend nicely, and then I did kind of go over it with the other cream blushes as well, but they all worked well together, and it did set down as a powder. So yeah, I do like this. So powders, right? We have the little duo here that is the powder bronzer and the powder highlighter. I like this little palette. I do think it's going to go in with my Essence Contour palette. It is a little hard to open though, I will say. But I do like it. I do feel like this bronzer is a little on the light side, but I don't mind that in these because I tend to use that more for like an everyday bronzer palette instead of like a full glam. And I love this highlighter. I think this highlighter is very pretty and very like everyday shade. I'm not sure if they have one deeper than this. I would have to look. That's one thing I will say with this brand is sometimes they're not very good with availability of different varieties of shades and deeper shades. So that is one issue with them. At least that I've seen online. The powder blush I think is very pretty. I really like it. I did just kind of mix everything together in here. I will say the component, it doesn't clasp. So, I mean, it could get snagged if you had it in a makeup bag. So there's just that little thing there. But it is a very pretty blush, and it is very nice and glowy on the skin. I think it is very, very pretty. So I do like it as well. Powder highlights. So I got this one in my advent calendar. I don't really like this one, and I'm finding a lot of times I'm not liking the highlighters that they put in the advent calendars just simply because they're a little too glittery for me. It's not the case with this one, or they're just a little too subtle for me. Like you have to really sit there and build and build and build and build and build. I just feel like this one is just, it doesn't show up enough for me. So yeah, not a huge fan of that one. Then we have this one. So I use this one all over the eyes because I knew right away that I was not going to like it as highlighter because I don't like super glittery highlights. I've talked about that before, and this one is definitely that. Like I said, this is a dupe for the Fenty Diamond Balm. I have heard from other influencers or content creators, whatever you want to call them, say in their videos, I don't know because I've never used the Fenty Diamond Balm, but based on what they're saying, that it's a very, very close identical dupe. I believe it's Tati's video that I saw her say that it was pretty much the same thing. So if you like that and you want something cheaper, here's your option. All right, but yeah, it makes a very good eye topper for me. Definitely helped the eye look. Sticking with some powders, and then I'll kind of circle back to some creams. The two little setting powders, they are very, very tiny. But they are supposed to be under eye setting powders, so there is that. That's why they're tiny. I use the warm nude all over my face. It did work for that, but I mean, obviously I'm not going to repurchase this just for my face constantly when I can buy bigger powders for the same, or if not cheaper price. But I do have it in my collection. I really like this powder under the eyes. This is the Light Rose. If you like a very natural looking like pink under eye with a pink under eye trend, I think this is very pretty, very brightening, very blurring. Love it. Definitely would repurchase this for that specifically. The gel to powder Magic Shine Eraser. Love so far. I love the Mally one. I just recently discovered it and fell in love with it, and I am feeling the same way about this product as well. Like I said, if you guys want me to do kind of a side-by-side comparison video and like a wear test kind of short video or something for you guys, just let me know in the comments and I can do that, since I have a small version of the Mally one, and then now I have this to try along with it. But yeah, it definitely feels the same to me, same on the skin, same on the face, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely liking it so far, and it does a very good job of making the makeup last. Alright, at least the amount of time I've had it on right now, because I haven't had it on all day yet like I have the Mally, but it's definitely feeling like it's going to. Let's circle back to some creams. So we have the under eye brightener. Love. This is popular for a reason. It does a very good job of brightening the under eyes, and I definitely would use this on its own when I want to just kind of like make myself look more awake. So yeah, definitely like this, would use it again. I am curious to use the one that I got in my advent calendar to see if they're the same, or if I got like a more pinky shade on this one or not. But right now, loving the one that I opened and used. The eyeliners, I am not a fan of their eyeliners. They are not pigmented enough for me, and the two that I got in the advent calendar are very pokey. Sorry, I had a lip liner there. The two that I got in the advent calendar that are like multi-chromes, I don't really see much of a multi-chrome effect on them. Maybe like a duochrome effect, but not much of a multi-chrome effect on them. But I kept poking myself in the eye because it was so sharp on the point, and it didn't want to stick to my waterline. So that's where I use eyeliners, as my waterline. I don't really use them under my eyes anymore because I use eyeshadow under there. So maybe I'll try these as like a wing or something maybe, and see how they perform that way. But right now I'm not loving these. And same with the one I purchased. Yeah, it went in the waterline, but it's lackluster. I have much better eyeliners from Essence and from ColourPop, so yeah, I would definitely not repurchase these. Back to some tools, we have the little puffs, very soft. The only thing I will say is the big one, I kept getting like little black specks coming off from it. I'm not sure why it was happening with this one. I didn't have that with the mini one. But it seems to have stopped now. I think it may just be because where it was brand new and it just kind of needed broken in, but they're very soft and they perform nicely, so they'll definitely go in with all my other sponges and puffs and things to keep. The mascara, I do not like this mascara. I feel like it just made my eyelashes look very spidery, and like they're almost completely fallen back down, and I don't want that. I want a mascara that's gonna curl my lashes up and keep them up, you know, throughout the day, and not automatically droop once I put the mascara on. So yeah, I'm not a fan of this mascara whatsoever. The setting sprays. So I actually usually really like Catrice setting sprays, and I bought specifically all like the new ones that I saw on the website because I liked this one that I had so much. Sorry, I knocked some stuff off. Because I liked the original one I had at this one so much, but I'm very concerned now that they changed the mister on all of them, because these were very like aggressive, and then this one got stuck several times when I was trying to use it, the Shake, Fix, and Glow spray. So yeah, not a huge fan of that. Maybe I'll try them out some more and see how I feel. But yeah, I'm really hoping they didn't like just cheap out on the packaging to make it cheaper for themselves, because the one I had before had a very nice mister. And I mean, as far as mattifying and glowing, they did perform well for that. So there is that. It's just the aggressive sprayer I'm not a fan of. And then I think we're down to just the lip products. Oh no, let me talk about the eyeshadow palettes. I am finding that I'm very spoiled with indie brands and the quality of indie brands right now, because I'm finding drugstore is just not up to my standards, especially shimmers. Now, that doesn't mean that it's bad quality, just means it's not up to my standard of quality. But if you are someone who loves a more natural shimmer, a more like suitable everyday work shimmer, then yeah, definitely go with drugstore brands. I will say, however, that the Milani palette did perform a little better than these, in my opinion. These perform better than the e.l.f. bite size that I had. Trying to think what other drugstore I've used. The Physicians Formula performs better. Only the Physicians Formula palette that I had got hard panned. Yeah, I think that's the only ones so far that I've used in videos. So yeah, but they're all just kind of that, I want to say lackluster, because they are lackluster to me, because I love a very sparkly, very impactful, very metallic type shimmer on my lids. But what I'm trying to say is, just because that's what I like doesn't mean that these are bad. They're just not what I prefer. But yeah, if you prefer this type of formula, then it's great for you. Now, the only thing I will say is that the blue in this palette here, it was very hard to work with because it was too pigmented, and it wanted to kind of like fall out under my eye no matter how much. Granted, part of that could have been the brush, so I do need to use another brush with it and try it out that way, but I do have a feeling that it's gonna still be that way. But everything else, like matte wise, performed decent for drugstore, and same shimmers perform decent for drugstore. They're more natural looking and not like pow in your face like I prefer. So that is just how I feel about the eyeshadow. Last, the lip products. I do not like the lip liner. It is very rough and tuggy. Granted, this did come in an advent calendar, and I'm gonna say it, sometimes advent calendar quality is not as good as what you purchase. A lot of times, just depends. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. The lipstick, though, however, I really like. It is very creamy. Again, it is very cheap packaging, but I mean, it is drugstore. But I do love the embossing that they did on it. I do like the fact that they took the time to do that. It's very nice. It is a very nice, like, pinky nude shade. I do want to try the other shade as well, so I'll put that in with like some new makeup or something in another video to try out, because I've been kind of organizing my stuff now that I've redone my desk, so that I have it kind of organized by item, so I can kind of grab what I want to try at the time. But overall, in this video, I will say it is not my favorite look that I have ever done. I do feel like I've done better with other drugstore brands, but I do feel like I have found some things that I do like a lot in this video, and some things that are just meh to me, and some things are just like, no, I would not repurchase again, ever. So yeah, all in all, you know, I hope this video helped you guys out, and let me know what you guys think. Do you own any of these products? Were you thinking of picking any of them up? Are you excited about any new products that they may be releasing? Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys would like and subscribe down below, it really helps me out, and I would appreciate it. Until next time, guys. Bye. Whoa.